Allow me to thank you again for helping me with the cargo, Shireen. I am sure the Ashmags who squirreled away my goods won't give up so easily, and I'll hear more about their scheming yet. Let's strike a deal, Shireen. I will watch your back, if you do me a favor and watch mine. Well, enough jokes. Is there something you wanted? My trade means knowing the right people and non-people. Having the right connections and making sure the precious goods find their way into the hands of my no less precious customers. My wisdom includes the knowledge of the enemies of humankind, be they Xenos or the lowest scum of the Imperium, as well as the latest knowledge about how they charge for any particular curio at the Footfall Market. Not even the most cunning Ajay will deceive you as long as I am with you, Shireen. I promise you that. Whatever I have can be yours too, if your unfathomable wealth isn't enough for you already, I mean. Compared to the rabble on Footfall, perhaps. Compared to you. Be it power or money, I still have a long way to go. I could purchase one of Footfall's asteroids, but not a planet. I could subjugate a few gangs from the shady districts, but not Vladaya. And so the answer to your question is no. I do not consider myself rich. I am not rich enough. Thank you, Sherry. Being able to read and write is chief among them. You may not be aware, but this science is beyond the abilities of billions of the Imperium subjects. And yet they happily keep drudging along in their factories, fundi, and assembly lines. Me? I didn't escape Ifrit to consign myself to such misery. It was literacy that paved my path to copied orders, forged signatures, counterfeited papers. The wonderful things that make the wheels of bureaucracy turn in the right direction. It has been known to happen. After years of dealing with Xenos, I've learned their customs, and even got a grasp of their language. Except they cringe whenever I start speaking. Arrogant sods. They dislike even our voices, but they never turn away our valuables. Then again, I'm used to seeing sour faces. In this trade, the easily offended go out of business. I have no doubt you will have to deal with Xenos sooner or later. When that time comes, Shireen, you will thank the Exalted One for sending me to stand at your side. You're fun to talk. I grew tired of scribing endless contracts and agreements neatly tucked away on Footfall. Well, I did that for how many years? But here, among the stars, you are always balanced on a knife edge. Nothing thrills me more than the tension of a warp jump, or the danger that lurks around every corner on a planet. Footfall was beginning to make me fat and stupid, Shireen. I do not want that. Do I trust the Trickster twins? By the Exalted One, no. The underhanded rogues of Footfall came up with that name for a reason. The tricks of those frenzied Ashmags are all about things far more intriguing than the honest and law-abiding subjects of the Imperium can imagine. On the other hand, this is why I am keeping them close. Kor and Tora know who lifted them out of the cesspit proudly called the Shadow Quarters, and who has been feeding that ravenous beast their insatiable lust for lucre. No, they are not going to betray me if only because they know I am now a part of your entourage, Shireen. They're not going to let the biggest pie in the Imperium pass them by without trying to get a slice for themselves. Vicious, cruel, dangerous beasts. Humans hold little interest for Xenos. We are entertainment for them, a means to keep boredom at bay. A commodity. But some of them contact us once in a while using their own people. Do not deceive yourself by thinking you are safe because there are no Xenos inside. Those Ajay are as cunning as they are ruthless. They cleverly pull at the strings of spies and traitors, subjugate those who do not fall for the promised reward, transform the ones who resist their promises into soulless puppets. The Emperor watches over me, and that is why I still haven't succumbed to the fate of many of my associates who have lost their lives to the stringy scoundrels. I think we've said all there is to say on this topic. It is difficult not to be aware of the powers that be, especially ones like Lord Captain Theodora. But we never met personally, as the difference between our positions was far too great. Theodora was a mighty ruler, the center of her own universe, and I, a pathetic commoner, was nothing next to her. But you were kind to me, Shireen, and in my eyes that puts you above your esteemed aunt, or whoever she was to you. The dark side is the real Coronis Expanse, if you ask me. But what do you want to know about it, Shireen? Dynasty drink with criminals. Rogue traders strike deals with the Casbalica, and dozens of ships stop off for a welcome break from a long voyage. Is there a more beautiful place in the entire Imperium? The Emperor is merciful to the meek and the powerful alike. There's a job for everyone as long as they have a head on their shoulders. And if you feel like talking to him in person, the statue of the Exalted One can be seen from any asteroid. You can pray to your heart's content. An ancient crime cartel that originated with the first settlers of the Calixis sector. It is run by shadowy clans with robber barons at the helm. Cross their path, and you risk making enemies all over the Coronis Expanse, or even the entire Imperium. As for the agents, they are just shameless, greedy scum. Every third person on footfall is a Casbalican. But that doesn't mean all that rotten filth is acting together. I've been set up more than once just so some Casbalican can get one over on his rivals. And yet, the Casbalica is generous to its customers, if you can afford it. Anything can be obtained, organized, and transported for the right price. The customer is always right, unless they happen to be a rat. In which case... What gave you such an outrageous idea? Was it my immaculate garment? My gorgeous jewelry? Do not worry, Shireen. I will let you know once I become a baroness, should the Exalted One will it. Just imagine the strong and fruitful alliance that could be forged between a rogue trader and the mastermind of the Casbalica. It's not hard to do on footfall. I spent a year working for good old Christo. He was a brave soldier who gave up the ghost in a scuffle with orcs, and then took over his business. Having a good head on your shoulders and keeping the Exalted One in your heart helps to establish new contacts quickly. Eventually, I gathered together a group of honest and loyal people, and it only took a few successful contracts for the Casbalica to take notice. I quickly settled on footfall and started dispensing my wisdom to my protégés and subordinates. I lost the taste for getting my hands dirty. It really is simple, Shireen. The Casbalica runs the Imperium's black market, offering special goods to those who can afford their services. Yes, I am talking about Xeno artifacts too. Alien weapons, technology, sometimes even certain kinds of living creatures. Unlike the rogue traders whose sacred warrants make them immune even from the laws of the Exalted One, Casbalican agents are used to hiding and covering their tracks. Nobody wants to draw unwanted attention, no matter who might take an interest. Especially now that the Coronis Expanse has a warrior of the Golden Throne as its watchman. Why not? The decision is yours, Shireen. Listen, Shireen, the giver of happiness and the dearest of my friends. I am who I am. A cold trader, a Casbalican agent, and your partner. We each have a past, and that past is sealed. I'm not prying into your soul, am I? Well, have pity on mine. It has already been gnawed at by the Ajin. And if you don't like the sound of that, we'll just go our separate ways. Deal? The Keronis Expanse. A gorgeous name, isn't it? But this backwater wasn't my original destination when I escaped, Sherry. Oh no, it was the rumors of incredible freedom that brought me to the Keronis Expanse. Freedom that is generously bestowed upon everyone who can survive in these parts. All doors are open here. You can become a saint, a mogul, a kingmaker, or anyone you like, really. Here, hard work pays off. Unless you're used to lying by the roadside and complaining instead of toiling for the good of your soul, glory, wallet, or whatever floats your boat. I'm used to working hard, and so I found my blessing. I convinced my father I personally wished to oversee the inspection of imported goods. I had to get experience so I wouldn't bring shame on our family, didn't I? I made friends with traders, missionaries, and soldiers at the port. I listened to their stories, studied the charts, learned what documents I had to forge to escape the planet. A kind word here, a shiny coin there. And here I am, in the iron belly of a ship, braving the void in search of a new life. Consider it a mark of my trade. This year, Xenos. Dumb-headed orcs. Who knew that we weren't the only ones to get tempted by the wreck of that raider? As for this treasure, I received it as a reward for a life that had been just a little too good. I was in a hurry to get to the Adeptus Amasacus after the Exalted One blessed me with immense wealth. I was 2 backstreets away from the den when a pathetic ashmag attacked me, envious of somebody else's fortune. I learned my lesson and started taking the longer way around. Except I haven't had any big windfalls since. All relationships are based on mutual trust. That goes for business too. The language on Ifrit, my home world, is quite different from the one spoken in the Keronis Expanse. We bestow more than one meaning upon each word, allowing our wise men to fully express their sagacious thoughts, and us lowly commoners our base passions and desires. Take Aji, for example. That is what I call every piece of scum and villain, because Aji means evil and foe and pathetic worm unworthy of consideration. Or take Ashmag. It means fool and little brother, and blind man who stumbles and would fall into a pit without guidance. Shireen means friend and comrade and roommate in a battle formation, like we are. No truer words have ever been said. I'm far more exciting than some small-time peddlers from Footfall. Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Jai Amira Fatqin Tamiri Ash Ifrit, the 12th daughter of the Lord of Ifrit, a distant world at the fringes of the Imperium. The youngest child is destined to become a bargaining chip in the family's political games. But I was unwilling to accept such a fate, and wanted to choose what to become and which path to follow. When I learned the Exalted One watches over hundreds of other worlds amidst distant stars, I understood there was an entire world of opportunities beyond Ifrit. All I had to do was break the familial bonds tying me down and escape the planet. Which I did a long time ago. All relationships are based on mutual trust. That goes for business too. Or lucky lady, you mean? My heart has been coveted by proud men with hard eyes, gentle maidens with sensual voices, imperious lords and fierce leaders of void brigands. Only rogue traders have not yet featured among Jai Hedari's intimate friends. Why do you ask, Shireen? You are prying at the treasures of my soul, my little secrets. How else can I keep them safe from such a powerful robber as the rogue trader? I dare not refuse you. Oh, Shireen. Then what reason do I have to tell you the truth? Every mystery once solved ceases to excite the interest of an inquiring mind. Oh, Shireen. With a few words, you have managed to make my heart flutter like a songbird caught in the snare of a skilled hunter. You enjoy being with me. Perhaps you even find me... amusing? Every girl dreams of hearing that she will make a fine toy and a worthy diversion. I understand. I'm just having a little fun, Shireen. I can't possibly just say, oh, I like you too. Words as dry and dull as a woodsman's dinner. They are unworthy of us. If you are not simply amusing yourself by toying with my feelings, then why not give it a try? Go on. Or, wait, you haven't yet asked how I feel about being your romantic partner. Ask soon, Shireen. Can go to the Ajin. Say no more, Shireen. Savor the anticipation, Shireen. Wait, and do not lose confidence. But if the feelings in your soul have become a fire that is burning you up from within, then you may express them by bestowing a gift upon your humble servant. Oh, Shireen, I did manage to spark your interest. Allow me to invite you to a more private place. My words are meant for your ears alone.
To what do I owe this visit? The cult's ordinary members are humans who have been corrupted by the archenemy, traitors to the Imperium, and accomplices of chaos. Participation in the cult's rituals always entails brainwashing, literally and figuratively. The longer cult members spend among other cultists, the less critically they think, and the more closely they resemble obedient livestock, stripped of their fear and instinct for self-preservation. The worst of them go to their deaths without an inkling of doubt, ready to take hundreds and thousands of souls with them. As for those at the top of the cult's hierarchy, we have not yet managed to get a lead on all of the cult's leaders. I imagine that some of them are hiding in the depths of the Coronis Expanse. But those who are orchestrating the fanatics on nearby worlds are hiding very well indeed, or receiving protection from above. Governors, commanders, rogue traders. History is full of those who neglect their duty to the Golden Throne and seek allies in the wrong places. We discovered the first traces of it as soon as we arrived in the Coronis Expanse. Since then, the more we learn, the better we see just how far the roots of this blight extend. Destroying individual cells is pointless. We must cut this beast off at its head. As you wish. Yes, but not here. I wouldn't want our conversation to be gossip fodder on the bridge and in the officers' mess.
Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all. This statement is true. Algorithmic violations have been recorded, as a result of which I twice performed an offering to the cogitators of corrected data vows and ruled out the possibility of sabotage. I hypothesize that the violation is a consequence of the discontent of the ship's machine spirits. I recommend a procedure of placation of the honored spirits for the glory of the Omnissiah and the steel angels sent by him. May your labors be effective and fruitful.
May the Exalted One protect you. Have you grown bored with our little talk, Shireen? So, Vigdis is snooping in on my Vox line. I wasn't threatening your navigator. I didn't even think about it. I was just relaxing in the good company of fragrant Amasak, sweet-scented Laho, and a handful of new friends from the upper decks. And right in the middle of the fun, the Lady Navigator swoops in and starts jabbering about how her head is about to split from the cacophony of colors coming from our cabin. Long story short, Shireen, I had the misfortune of getting a taste of what your officers have been going on about. They say when the Orselio girl becomes upset, everyone in the vicinity loses their minds and is overtaken by Aji. And it hurt like anything. I can only remember everyone huddling in a corner, wailing like klaxons. As for Cassia, I think Cassia was flustered by the state of our clothes, which were very meager back then, as you understand. Before I could get my bearings, the porting was gone. The whole situation was awkward. As for the threats, they were addressed to one of the girls I'd been foolish enough to invite to our little party. That Kasra used the confusion to pilfer a full pouch of the Laho from under my nose. Oh, I have no doubt you will.
Me? Not a clue, Lord Captain. I don't know who Lady Theodora would have told about a thing like that, but it definitely wasn't me. Why would you whisper that to me now? Why? Lord Captain, I don't know anything about caches or Lady Theodora's secrets, but the voices have just reminded me about something. I was once given the chance to try some real wine. Lady Theodora gave me some. Not just any old synthetic booze, but her favorite plonk. She always drank it in her palace. It was golden in color, and its name was Flame of Purity. A silly name, but the flavor was so intense, and like nothing I'd ever tasted before or since. Apologies. It's probably not important, but I don't know anything more than that. Of course. Always at your service, whenever you need me.
Lord Captain. And who brought this piece of news to you, I wonder? Then again, I have nothing to hide from you. Of late, the helmsmen have been going off course with increasing frequency, and the reports are full of contradicting accounts. The problem continued, even after several demotions were handed out, so I took it upon myself to investigate. I was astonished to learn that our Lady Navigator has been amending entries in the ship's log, and the officers have been keeping silent on her orders. I immediately demanded an end to the outrageous conduct, and I reprimanded Lady Cassia in front of the officers. She greeted my words with silence, and then quickly departed. I should not have acted thus. I never even found out what drove her to do it. It is wise for a rogue trader to have caches where they can safely store important information. And utterly unwise to share the coordinates of such caches with anyone, even one's most trusted associates. I'm afraid I do not know how to find the caches, but I can offer some help. Your predecessor used this numeric code to deactivate certain defense systems in her service. If I know Lady Theodora as well as I think, then I'm quite certain that she left her caches well guarded. In that case, this code will be useful to you.